Hello Leo, and welcome to my channel, Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements looking at your connection between you and the person that you are dealing with and are needing to learn the most from right now. We'll be pulling for all three sides of the connection, so we'll look at your energy toward it, their energy toward it, and the energy in between it, the concept being that there are three sides to every story, so we're looking at your version of the truth, their version of the truth, and this higher level unbiased truth in the middle. This middle section is looking at what is the deeper purpose of the connection and the best way for you to move forward in order to align further with your higher self. Friendly reminder that these are general readings and they are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation and to leave what does not. On that note, and especially if you're a cross-watcher, just know that this whole reading can be reversed. If that is the case for you, that is totally fine and totally normal. Again, the point is to take what helps and leave what doesn't. Last thing is that any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading or a coaching session with me is in the description box below. All right, Leo. Let's see what we've got here. We're going to start with looking at overall energy. We're going to start with your side of the connection. So we're pulling for Leo's energy toward the person they are dealing with and are needing to learn the most from right now. Okay, I feel like when it comes to you and this person, there are a lot of things that align. So you have, synchronicity with interference. I do feel like there are a lot of things that align, a lot of things that are that like match up almost to you, what it is that you desire. But with this interference card, I feel like there's something that you feel is currently standing in the way of this connection's ability to like come together in a healthy way. So there's something blocking, at least from your perspective on your side of things, something blocking this connection. I do feel like there is a lot of love that you have for this person and for this connection. I just feel like it's really hard for you to figure out the best way to move forward, because I think that on one hand, it's like, well, I really care about this person. I want them in my life. Like, I want to make this work. But then on the other hand, I feel like there's like, something that you feel is really blocking your guys' ability to do that. This person's energy toward you, Leo. Wild card. I feel like this person sees this connection as very up in the air. They don't see a lot of security in how things currently are. With this romance card, I feel like this person, I see this in a couple of ways. I feel like they do have feelings for you in this connection, but I also feel that they deeply desire what this connection is capable of being. However, it feels as if I feel like the state of this connection has this person feeling really insecure. And I feel like because of that, they're acting from that insecurity and almost like protecting themselves in some sort of way, which is making things worse. So I feel like because of the way that they're reacting, it's kind of driving the connection apart a little bit. Even though there are feelings here and there is a desire to make this work. Like that's definitely here. Truth of the connection between Leo and this person. I also feel like this person's energy is very unpredictable. Healing, patience, and then fate. Interesting. I feel like you and this person definitely met for a reason, and I feel like one of the biggest reasons is to initiate healing in the other. I think the hard part about those dynamics and connections and the purpose that comes with those types of connections is everyone has free will, right? So even if there is a connection that's like triggering healing and there's potential that could be met if both parties decide to do the healing and decide to do the work, that has to be up to each individual to make that choice. And I think that on your side here, you see, everything is very aligned and you would like, I feel like you're like, if this person could heal or if this person could work on these things, like things could be really good. But I also feel at the same time that you recognize you don't have control over that, but you're still willing to be very patient and to wait on that potential. And I think that because this fate card to me often represents some sort of like something karmic. And I'm not saying that this is a karmic connection, but I do think that there is a karmic cycle that is really affecting, maybe that's what's interfering, a karmic cycle that is interfering with the connection's ability to move forward. So I don't necessarily know what's going on, like in terms of the deeper story, which we're going to dive into tarot in just a second and see if we can get some more information. But honestly, I don't feel like that's really for me to know at all. I feel like this is a lot about recognizing first and foremost, like what's in your control, what it is that you're needing to work on and address, and, kind of being willing to trust that either this person is going to do that, but if they continue to not do that, being able to kind of let go of that potential, which is obviously really hard when the feelings are strong. But let's see what we've got here. Overall theme of this reading for Leo, healing with patience, is what you have in between. I feel like this overall theme kind of seems to align a little bit with that. You still miss me. I feel like intuitively that you feel like this person does care about you. I feel like it's like deep down in your heart. Like I feel like how this person really feels. And maybe they have told you certain things, but I feel like one of the biggest things that's really bothering you is the way that they handle this connection, especially when they are feeling a little bit more insecure. And I think that ends up causing some harm, because then you have, it still hurts, but you also have pride keeps us apart. I kind of see pride as this unwillingness to change, or this unwillingness to take accountability. And what's really interesting is I feel like, I'm a firm believer that there's three sides to every story. It's why I read the way that I do. But I also feel that in order for any kind of argument or conflict, or for there to ever be a resolution, both parties have to take accountability for the role that they played. And I think that it's almost as if you've kind of done that work and maybe are willing to do that. But when it comes to this person, it almost feels like they're like they're having trouble with taking accountability. I think that a lot of people tend to equate accountability with blame and think that when somebody takes accountability, they're saying like, oh, I did this on purpose and I'm a bad person or whatever because of it. But I don't think that that's what accountability is at all. I think accountability is the best way of saying I had good intentions, but I made a mistake and now I am actively doing what I can to not make that mistake again, right? Accountability is saying, yes, I messed up. I see where I was coming from, but it doesn't mean that you're saying like, oh, I did all of these things wrong and I'm the only one to blame. So I think that a lot of people do take accountability as an attack. And I think that this person struggles with that. It's like they struggle to take accountability because maybe they struggle with their ego a little bit. I don't know, but let's just break this down further. Let's see, Leo, what we've got here. Interference with synchronicity. This is for Leo's energy toward the person they are dealing with and are needing to learn the most from right now. I feel like this person is very stubborn. And I'm going to be honest with you a little bit, Leo. I feel like you might be a little bit stubborn too. Not that you're like, not in a bad way necessarily, but I think that does kind of create a little bit of a point of conflict in this. Queen of Cups in reverse. Okay, hang on. I feel like this connection has this tendency to affect you in a way that's a lot different than typical connections. Like, it's like, I don't know if it triggers you a little bit more, or if, like, when things do happen, it affects you a little bit more. But I do feel that makes it kind of difficult for you to navigate this, because there's a lot of emotion. I feel like there's a lot of intensity associated with this connection. Now, with this Emperor card, I actually very much like this energy on your side here, because the Emperor to me is all about this embodiment of like focusing on what you can control, like doing what you can to work on yourself, or, you know, to be honest and be compassionate and be vulnerable, and kind of letting go of the need to control other people. But I feel like what's happening here is you're showing up like in the best way you know how. Again, I'm not saying, oh, you're perfect and you do no wrong, right? Like, I don't believe that anybody is perfect, but I do feel that you are putting in this intention to show up in the best way that you can in this connection. And it feels like you're not being met with that same amount of effort. And I can understand how that, because there's a lot of frustration, I feel like, on your side here, where you have a lot of feelings and you have a lot of love. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that based on how this like currently looks energetically, like, you want this person in your life. You want this to work. If this is your reading, like, that's how you feel about this. But I feel like there's a lot of frustration around, but like, it can't work unless these things happen. Like, unless this person does the work, unless this person heals, or like apologizes or changes behavior, whatever the case is. And I think that that's good, because you do have these high standards, right? But I also feel that you're kind of stuck a little bit in this place of pause, where you're like, okay, I want this connection to work, but I know that I need these specific things in order for it to work. So, you know, what do I do? Essentially, do I just wait until those things maybe happen? Do I let go and move on? Like, I feel like you're just kind of in this in between where you're like, I don't really know what to do and how to handle this. I like this Ace of Cups energy, because this is an energy of being very honest with yourself. I feel like you're very honest with yourself about who this person is, about what they're capable of. But I feel like there's so much difficulty for you here, because there is so much potential that you do see, that it's making it hard for you to, like, it's not like you can just walk away, right? It's not like you can just like throw in the towel, because you're like, I do care about this person. Maybe, you know, this isn't even a love reading and this is about a family member or a best friend or something. It's like, it's so much harder when there's a lot of love there, to just like, you know, to choose what might be best. And I'm not saying that is best, but Seven of Swords. Interesting. With the Death here. Ooh, okay. Let me clarify this Death in reverse. A cycle. A cycle that needs to end, because you have the World with the Two of Swords. So there is a need to put an end to some sort of cycle here. And I don't know if that cycle is like waiting on this person to change, or putting yourself through a lot, you know, hoping that this person changes. Whatever it is, I do kind of feel that this has been, I feel like the best way that I could put this is, I feel like this has been really difficult for your nervous system, because I feel like there's a lot of unpredictability here. So you're like, I don't know how they're going to show up, or what they're going to do, or if they're going to, you know, do something to hurt me, or to, you know, screw me over, whatever the case is. And that is kind of putting you in this like fight or flight energy of like, I have no idea how to handle this. There's a lack of safety here, a lack of security here. And yes, there's a lot of potential, but there's a lot of other things that are in the way of that, right? Like we saw at the beginning of this with interference. I feel like this person has no idea how you feel. Now, I also feel that you could have even told them how you feel, but I almost feel like they're if somebody isn't willing to take accountability, they're not going to understand when you have a problem, because they're going to be like, oh, that, that's not, I don't understand. You're like, it's like, they're like, I don't understand. And you're like, well, here's what's wrong. And they're like, no, I don't understand. And you're like, well, you do these things and these things hurt me and I wish you didn't do these things. And they're like, wait, I don't understand. And you're like, I don't know how else to tell you. Like, that's it. And so maybe even over time, you just learn to hold back, to just not say anything at all because you didn't want to cause conflict, or you didn't want to deal with it, or because you learned somehow that it didn't matter. Which then and then it's kind of this energy of, almost like, best way of putting it is kind of like suffering in silence, because you're like, I don't know, should I just wait until, things are better or things change? Or let's see, romance with wild card, this person's energy toward you, Leo. Three of Cups in reverse. Whoa. Nine of Pentacles. I knew there was a desire here. This person keeps people at a distance. It's not just you. I feel like it's something that they do in general. I feel like they don't let people get too close, and they don't get too close to people. And yep, it's because of the Ten of Swords. But it's interesting because they desire that closeness. They hold this desire for it. They hold this desire for, deeper connection, things of that nature, but they're also equally as afraid of it. I feel like this person's been through a lot with this Ten of Swords. Maybe they've been hurt in the past, they've been betrayed in the past, they've experienced loss and been let down by people. So in a way, I feel like they kind of learned, I can't trust people. I can't open myself up. If I open myself up, I'm going to get hurt. So instead of addressing that stuff and dealing with it, I feel that they withdraw, they pull themselves away. Now they have the Star in reverse, and then this is upright, this Ace of Wands here. I think that, because there's the Five of Wands. Oh, this person's like at war with themselves about this. Literally. It's almost like they have this desire, right? But this desire brings a lot of fear. And I said this at the very beginning. I said this connection triggers this person's insecurities a lot. I feel like it makes them maybe feel not good enough, or, address, be pushed to address like some of these deeper wounds that they've buried. And I will say that is what relationships do. And even the healthiest of relationships are going to trigger your wounding. They're going to pull to the surface insecurities and fears around love, and the ways in which you push love away, and the barriers that you've created, the protective patterns that you've created to push away love. And in order for any kind of healthy relationship to work, both people have to be, one, aware of their traumas, triggers, and protective patterns. And second of all, actively doing the work to address, work on, and change their behavior around those things. But a lot of people are living unconsciously, right? So a lot of people are experiencing traumas, triggers, and fears. Instead of recognizing what's happening, they're responding from that place. So they're pushing people away, or sabotaging, or, making kind of dumb decisions in their relationship, and then turning around and going, why did I do that? But then doing the same thing again and not actually addressing the behavior. I did this for a really long time. Literally, most people are living in their unconscious protective patterns, and until those things are addressed, those things will continue to sabotage a relationship. And I feel like that's a lot of what you're dealing with in this connection. There are a lot of things that align here. I feel like the potential is there. I feel like you guys get along well when this person isn't, reacting a certain way. But I feel like what this person needs, and I see it with the Star in reverse, I see it with the healing in between this, is healing. This person needs to address these things that cause them to act a certain way, but they're not doing that. So they're at war with themselves about, this is what I really desire, but I'm really afraid of it. So I want it, but I'm scared of it, but I want to pull it close, but actually I want to push it away. And I feel like this comes out a lot in their behavior. Maybe it comes off as really wishy-washy. Maybe it comes off as like they can't make up their mind, or they don't know what they want. When in reality, I feel like this person does know what they want. And with the Knight of Pentacles, I feel like that is you. And I feel like you know that, right? Intuitively, intuitively on a deeper level, I feel like you know that. But then the way that they behave and the way that they act and the way that they withdraw and like all these things that they do, it keeps them from being able to fully invest. Now, there's one thing that keeps popping into my mind. It feels like this person tries in all the wrong ways. Meaning that like maybe they like bring you flowers and you're like, no, I want you to stop sabotaging. Or like they're like, well, I'll take you out to a nice dinner, and you're like, no, I want you to go to therapy. Like it feels like they're willing to do the stuff on the surface, but they're not willing to get to the root of the behavior, to get to the root of what's really going on, to do the work. Which doing the work is necessary to build and sustain a healthy relationship. And I feel like, well, I've certainly learned that most people avoid doing the work and then get frustrated whenever they aren't able to experience the love that they deserve. And I say this both from my experience of dealing with people who are like that and being somebody who is like that. For a long time, I was very unhealed and my wounds drove my decisions in relationships, and it led me to, chasing love in the wrong people and pushing away love in the wrong people. And I didn't address any of these things or look at any of these patterns. And I just kept going, I can't have the love that I deserve. And the whole time Spirit was trying to lead me to understanding the wounding that was at play. So it's interesting. This person is very interesting because I do feel like they have like good intentions, quote unquote. But I think that they have horrible execution. It's like they want to love, but they have no idea how to do that in a healthy way. Like they want to be consistent, but they don't know how to handle their emotions when they're feeling emotionally heightened, so they act inconsistent. And all of these things are things that they're going to have to address and work on. And again, I feel like you do know that, right? But I do feel like the cycle here is this energy of waiting on this person to change and staying very stuck in being, I don't know, miserable is the right word, but it is the word that came to mind. Like being really unhappy and unfulfilled in love, and specifically in this relationship in the meantime. Because I do feel like, one of the best things I've ever learned is that people can change. Absolutely, people can change. But it is a conscious and active choice that they have to make to do so. And a lot of people don't make that choice because it's uncomfortable. It is so much easier as a human being to stay the same. And if this person doesn't want to take accountability for the way that they show up, if they don't want to be like, yeah, I push away love because I'm afraid of getting hurt, and I'm going to do what I can to not do that. Like if they don't want to make those decisions, then they're going to continue to do the same thing. And you're just going to be put in this position of getting hurt time and time again, right? So when it comes to dealing with people who, struggle with these types of things, we kind of have to be willing to put our foot down and say, look, I know you're not perfect. I'm not perfect. I don't expect you to be perfect, but I need there to be an active decision to change because, an apology without change behavior or accountability isn't an apology. It's just manipulation, right? It's just a way to say, oh, I messed up because I want to get you back into my life. But if there's not really like any change in behavior, then there's something bigger that needs to be addressed there. Because if that person is refusing to change and we keep chasing that change, we have to look at why we're chasing that change and what we can do to stop doing that so that we can have the love that we deserve and ultimately protect ourselves mentally, emotionally, and just our peace in general. But in between this connection, you have healing with patience. I'm going to hop on over to the extended, looking at the deeper purpose of the connection and the best way for you to move forward in alignment with your higher self. Thank you so much, Leo, as always, for your support of my channel. I do obviously hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you were needing today. And as always, I wish you nothing but love and healing and all of the wonderful things that you deserve and desire on your journey moving forward. Okay, bye, Leo.